My fiancé mocked my weight in front of his friends, chuckling. His friends laughed and I just smiled, saying nothing. 6 months later, I walked into a gala, hand in hand with his CEO. His jaw dropped as I turned to him and said, "Hi. Did you enjoy the start of our journey? Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to not miss any of our inspiring stories to come. Your interaction is crucial for us to continue sharing moments that transform lives. Join our community and be a part of every new discovery and achievement." Now, let's go to the story. I had always believed that love was built on the foundations of mutual respect and shared dreams, not on humiliation and hurtful jests. On that fateful evening, as I returned early from a work trip filled with thoughts of seeing Brian, my fiancé, what I encountered was a scene that would shatter my heart in ways I never imagined. Brian had promised a quiet evening at home, the kind we used to cherish where the world seemed to pause just for the two of us. As I approached our shared apartment, the soft murmur of voices hinted at a gathering. A surprise, perhaps, I mused, quickening my steps in anticipation. But the closer I got, the clearer the voices became, and the atmosphere changed from one, a potential joy, to undeniable tension. Pausing just outside the living room door, a sliver of space allowed me glimpses of the inside. The familiar couch filled with unfamiliar faces, bottles of beer scattered across the coffee table, and Brian, center stage, holding court. Laughter, loud and booming, filled the air, punctuated by Brian's voice. "Honestly, guys, if you want to know the secret to a happy life, make sure your girl is, well, let's just say, well-rounded," he joked, his hand gesturing crudely. The laughter that followed was a physical blow, each guffaw a strike against the love I thought we shared. I stood frozen, clutching my keys so tightly that the edges dug into my palm, a small pain overshadowed by the ache spreading through my chest. This wasn't the Brian I knew, or thought I knew. The man I loved had always been gentle and kind, or so I believed. How could I have been so blind to this side of him? I retreated silently, the soft click of the door behind me a stark contrast to the chaos within. Back against the cool exterior wall, I allowed myself a moment to breathe, to feel the sting of tears that threatened to fall. It was a moment of profound clarity, mixed with deep sorrow. This mockery, this disrespect, had unfolded in the very heart of what we had built together. Instead of confronting him, I turned away. This moment demanded more than a confrontation. It needed a resolution, a reclaiming of my self-respect. I walked, each step steadier than the last, back to the sanctuary of my bedroom. There, surrounded by the artifacts of our relationship, I made the decision to leave. It wasn't just about escaping the hurt, it was about asserting my worth. Packing was both an escape and a challenge. Each item I chose to take was a token of my new journey. Each item left behind a chain released. My clothes, books, the small trinkets that we had collected together on trips that spoke of a happier time, all chosen with a deliberate calmness that belied the storm within me. When the suitcase was packed, I allowed myself one last walk through the apartment. Each room was filled with memories, each corner a testament to the life I thought we were building. The pictures on the walls, the throw on the couch where we had cuddled on lazy Sundays, the kitchen where we had danced and cooked and laughed, it all seemed like a cruel joke now. With the suitcase in hand, I stood at the threshold. This door had always been a portal to our shared life, and now it was my exit from a love that was never truly mine. Turning the key, I felt a finality in the click, a solemn closure to the years of love I had given so freely and so wrongly. As I stepped out into the cool night, the city lights blinked back at me, indifferent yet inviting. The road ahead was uncertain and daunting, yet filled with a promise of something genuine, something deserving of the love I had to give. In that moment, I realized that this ending was not just an act of departure, but an act of courage, A first step towards a future where respect and love were not just expected, but required. As the city's lights faded into the distance behind me, each step forward was a small claim on the new life that awaited. The cool air was refreshing, almost cleansing, as if it could wash away the remnants of a relationship built on deceit. The silence of the night was a stark contrast to the cacophony of emotions that had filled me just hours before. Alone with my thoughts, I faced the painful truth. Brian's words were not just a slip of the tongue in poor taste. They were the unveiling of a reality I had been too in love to see. I had laughed off his subtle jabs before, explaining them away as jokes or missteps in speech. But the clarity that comes with betrayal is piercing and unforgiving. As I walked, memories of past comments resurfaced, each one now a glaring signal of his deep-seated disrespect. It was as if a filter had been lifted from my eyes, and I could finally see Brian for who he truly was. This awakening was as painful as it was necessary. The man I had planned to marry had shown his true colors, and they were not the hues of love and respect, but of mockery and disdain. It's funny how the heart works, holding on to the good and filtering out the bad. But the mind, when it catches up, leaves no room for doubt. I realized then that what I had taken for isolated incidents were, in fact, patterns. A consistent undercurrent of disrespect that had colored our entire relationship. In the solitude of my journey, I wrestled with feelings of anger, embarrassment, and profound sadness. How many times had I excused his behavior to friends? How many times had I painted a picture of a perfect relationship in public while nursing doubts in private? The weight of these realizations was overwhelming, but it also stoked a fire within me, a fire to reclaim my life, my dignity, and my self-respect. I found solace in the rhythm of my steps, each one a beat in the anthem of my newfound resolve. This wasn't just about moving away from something toxic. It was about moving towards something better. I deserved a partner who would lift me up, not one who would pull me down to the level of a punchline in front of his friends. This emotional awakening was a crucial turning point. Instead of crumbling under the weight of betrayal, I chose to stand tall. I recognized that leaving Brian was not a sign of weakness, but of immense strength and self-respect. It was a declaration that I was no longer willing to be the subject of anyone's ridicule, least of all someone who professed to love me. The night gave way to dawn, and with it came a symbolic new beginning. As the first light touched the horizon, it painted the sky with colors of hope and renewal. I felt a sense of empowerment wash over me. A clear understanding that this journey was not just about escaping a painful past, but about embracing a promising future. I arrived at my friend Sarah's apartment, just as the city stirred to life. She opened the door with sleepy eyes and a worried frown, which quickly turned to relief when she saw me. "Scarlett," she said, enveloping me in a warm hug. "I'm so glad you're here." In the safety of Sarah's living room, I finally allowed myself to feel the full extent of my emotions. The tears came, not just from sorrow, but also from relief. Sharing my story with her, I felt the last vestiges of my old life slip away, making room for a new chapter, one filled with self-love and respect. This emotional awakening was not the end of my journey, but the very beginning. I was ready to rebuild, not just my heart, but my entire life, with the understanding that respect and love from others begins with respect and love for oneself. In the comforting embrace of Sarah's apartment, amid the genuine concern and support, a decisive spark ignited within me. It was one thing to escape into the safety of a friend's refuge, quite another to carve out a new path forward. As Sarah handed me a cup of warm tea, her kitchen filled with the morning light, illuminating the possibilities that lay ahead. "You know, Scarlett, this could be the start of something beautiful for you," she said, her voice both soothing and encouraging. Her words resonated deeply, stirring a resolve I hadn't felt in a long time. I sipped the tea, its warmth spreading through me, mirroring the growing determination in my heart. Sarah was right. This wasn't just about getting away from Brian. It was about reclaiming my life, my choices, my future. Later that day, after a long reflective shower, I stood in front of the mirror. The person looking back at me was familiar, yet fundamentally changed. The shadows of doubt and the traces of tears were gone, replaced by a clear, unwavering gaze. "Enough is enough," I whispered to my reflection. No longer would I allow myself to be diminished by anyone. Packing up my belongings from our shared apartment was the next practical step, but it symbolized so much more. Each item I placed into boxes felt like a piece of my old self being put away, making room for the new, empowered Scarlett. With every drawer emptied and every shelf cleared, I felt lighter, freer. The physical act of removing my presence from that space was cathartic, a tangible severance from the past. The decision to leave Brian wasn't just an emotional reaction, it was a thoughtful choice for my well-being. I informed him via a text, knowing that a face-to-face confrontation would lead nowhere but down a path of excuses and manipulation. "Brian, I've decided to move on. This is not just about last night, but about respecting myself enough to leave. Please don't contact me. I wish you well." Sending that message was like setting down a heavy burden I hadn't even realized I'd been carrying all this time. As I left the apartment for the last time, the weight of the key in my hand was a stark reminder of the gravity of my decision. Dropping it into the mailbox felt like closing the book on a long, tumultuous chapter. The finality was palpable, but so was the relief. Embracing my newfound freedom, I moved into a small, cozy apartment that I could call my own. Decorating it became a therapeutic process, each choice a reflection of my individuality and independence. I chose bright, cheerful colors, vibrant artwork, and comfortable, inviting furniture, creating a space that was entirely mine, untouched by the shadows of my past. This new home was not just a place to live. It was a sanctuary, a physical manifestation of my new beginning. I relished the quiet moments spent alone, the peaceful mornings with just my thoughts, and the soft hum of the city as my companions. These moments of solitude were not lonely, but filled with a profound sense of self-connection and peace. Breaking free from a relationship that had confined and defined me was the most challenging decision I had ever made, but it was also the most liberating. With each day that passed, I grew stronger, more confident in my identity and my choices. The freedom to make decisions for myself, to live according to my values and desires, was exhilarating. I realized that true freedom isn't just about being alone. It's about being whole. It's about making choices that honor oneself, about stepping away from toxicity and towards a life filled with genuine self-respect and love. As the weeks turned into months, the blank canvas of my new apartment gradually filled with the colors of my rebirth. Each morning, I greeted the day not just with a routine, but with a ritual, a commitment to nurturing the self that had long been neglected. My transformation began with small, seemingly insignificant decisions, choosing healthier meals, setting aside time for meditation, and slowly replacing the nights spent dwelling on past hurts with evenings dedicated to personal growth. I joined a local gym, a place I had often passed by but never entered. The first day I walked through those doors was filled with apprehension, but also a quiet excitement. The weights and machines were not just tools for physical strength, but symbols of the emotional and mental fortitude I was building. Each drop of sweat, each breathless moment after a long run, felt like shedding remnants of my old self-doubts. Fitness became more than just a physical endeavor. It was a metaphor for my entire transformation. With every pound lifted and every mile conquered, I felt a bit more in control of my destiny. The physical strength I gained mirrored the emotional resilience growing within me. The gym was where I fought my battles, where I pushed past the limits I once thought I had. But transformation is not only about the body. I sought therapy, a space to untangle the complex emotions and thoughts that had accumulated over the years. My therapist, a kind and insightful woman, guided me through the process with gentle questions and thoughtful reflections. Each session was a step towards understanding myself better, towards healing the wounds that were both deep and raw. Self-care also meant allowing myself moments of joy and relaxation. I rediscovered old hobbies that I had put aside: painting, reading, playing the guitar. Each brush stroke on the canvas, each page turned, each chord struck, was a celebration of my independence and creativity. Professionally, I embraced challenges with a new vigor. My job, which had once been just a means to an end, became a field of potential growth. I volunteered for projects that scared me, spoke up in meetings where I would have once remained silent, and proposed innovative ideas that sometimes surprised even myself. My colleagues took notice. The more I invested in my personal growth, the more my professional life flourished. My contributions were recognized, not just with words, but with tangible rewards, promotions, raises, and opportunities to lead important projects. It was as if the universe was responding in kind to the energy and dedication I was putting out into the world. One of the most significant moments of recognition came from Colin Whitmore, the CEO of our company. He approached me after a presentation that had gone particularly well. "Scarlett, your insight and drive have not gone unnoticed. I see great potential in you," he said. His words not just a compliment, but a prophecy of the future he envisioned for me. This newfound confidence was intoxicating. It wasn't born out of arrogance, but out of a deep-seated belief in my abilities and worth. I walked taller, spoke more assertively, and engaged with the world with an open heart and a fearless mind. As I transformed, so did my environment. My relationships became more meaningful, filled with genuine connections and mutual respect. I surrounded myself with people who uplifted and inspired me, and in return, I offered them the same support and encouragement. This journey of self-transformation was not just about changing who I was, but about becoming who I was always meant to be. It was about stripping away the pretenses and fears and embracing the true essence of my spirit. With each new day, I was not just living, I was thriving. As my personal transformation unfolded, the ripple effects were palpable in every sphere of my life, particularly at work. The newfound confidence and clarity that I had cultivated within myself began to manifest in my professional demeanor and outputs. My desk, once cluttered with half-finished tasks and reminders of deadlines long past, became an organized showcase of efficiency and ambition. Every project I undertook was handled with a level of dedication and precision that did not go unnoticed by my peers and superiors. With each successful assignment, my reputation within the company grew. I was no longer just another employee going through the motions. I had become a catalyst for change and innovation. My ideas, once penned timidly in notebooks, were now strategies discussed enthusiastically in boardrooms. The transformation was not just in how others saw me, but in how I saw myself, as a leader, a thinker, and a driver of progress. Colin Whitmore, the CEO, became a mentor of sorts. His initial words of encouragement were just the beginning of a professional relationship that would challenge and elevate me. He invited me to strategy meetings not typically open to my level, asking for my input on key decisions. "Scarlett, what's your take on this?" became a common refrain in these sessions, and each time, I made sure my responses were thoughtful and well-reasoned. The challenges were significant, pushing me to expand my knowledge and skills. I enrolled in evening courses that enhanced my expertise in our industry's latest technologies and trends. The more I learned, the more I was able to contribute, and my contributions fueled my rise through the ranks. My career growth was meteoric, a term I had once reserved for others. From managing small, internal projects, I was now leading major initiatives that shaped the direction of the company. The projects varied, from new product developments to redefining our market approach, each adding layers to my professional capabilities and to my sense of achievement. Networking became a key part of my growth. I attended conferences, participated in panels, and connected with industry leaders. Each interaction was an opportunity to learn and to showcase the vision and values of our company. My network grew, as did my reputation as a dynamic and forward-thinking professional. One particularly rewarding project involved a partnership with an overseas company. I was chosen to lead the negotiations, a task that required not just knowledge of our products, but an understanding of cross-cultural business practices. The negotiations were tough, but fair, and the partnership we forged was both lucrative and innovative, setting a new standard for international collaborations within our firm. This success led to more responsibilities. Colin appointed me as the head of a new department focused on innovation and growth. It was a challenge I had never anticipated, one that came with its own set of uncertainties. Yet, the trust Colin and the company placed in me was empowering. I built my team from the ground up, choosing individuals not just for their skills, but for their ability to think differently and to challenge the status quo. Our department quickly became known as a hub of creativity and breakthroughs. We were responsible for some of the most significant shifts in our company's trajectory, shifts that aligned with the evolving needs of our customers and the pressures of a competitive market. Each successful project under my leadership not only furthered our company's goals, but also cemented my reputation as a visionary leader. The pinnacle of my career growth came when I was invited to join the executive board, a rare honor and a testament to the transformation I had undergone. Sitting at that table, I wasn't just a participant. I was a key decision-maker, shaping the future of the company that I had grown with, that had, in many ways, grown with me. My story of career growth was not just about climbing the corporate ladder. It was about transforming a job into a passion, a workplace into a canvas for innovation, and challenges into opportunities to excel and lead. It was a testament to the power of self-belief, hard work, and the courage to embrace change. With each stride I took in the boardroom and beyond, my journey was not merely about ascending the corporate ranks. It was a profound narrative of personal and professional renaissance. As I solidified my position on the executive board, the fabric of my self-assurance was woven not only through my achievements, but also through the day-to-day interactions that colored my professional life. I remember stepping into an all-important industry conference, the kind where futures are shaped. The atmosphere was electric, buzzing with the collective ambitions and anxieties of everyone present. As I prepared to deliver the keynote speech, a task that once would have daunted the old me, I felt a calm resolve. The applause that followed resonated deeper than acknowledgement. It was affirmation of my journey from the shadows of self-doubt to the spotlight of leadership. Back at the office, this newfound confidence translated into more than just business successes. It redefined my relationships with colleagues, turning professional respect into genuine camaraderie. I mentored young professionals, paying forward the guidance I had received from Colin and others. Each mentoring session was a reminder of how far I had come and a chance to inspire others to embark on their paths of growth. The confidence was not confined to the walls of the office or the echo chambers of conferences. It spilled over into my personal life, enriching it with new experiences and relationships. I found myself engaging in community service, leading initiatives that aimed to empower women in business. The joy and fulfillment that came from this work were immeasurable, as each life touched by these initiatives mirrored my own transformations in some way. Social gatherings, once a minefield of anxiety, became landscapes of opportunity. I hosted dinners, attended galas, and engaged in conversations that were as deep as they were diverse. The people I met, from CEOs to artists, from politicians to educators, enriched my worldview and expanded my horizons. As the seasons changed, so did the reflections in my personal mirror. I saw someone who was no longer defined by past hurt, but empowered by her resilience and capabilities. My home became a sanctuary of this new phase of life. Each piece of art, each book on the shelf, each photograph displayed, told a story of a chapter lived fully, a challenge embraced. The transformation was holistic. Physically, I was stronger, thanks to my continued commitment to fitness and wellness. Emotionally, I was steadier, equipped with tools to manage stress and setbacks. Intellectually, I was sharper, always on the pulse of industry trends and insights. Spiritually, I was connected, finding peace in meditation and solace in nature. The culmination of this newfound confidence was most visible when I found myself back at a familiar event, the high-profile gala that the company hosted annually. This year was different, though. I was not just an attendee, but the guest of honor, a role that came with the responsibility of delivering the opening address. As I stood at the podium, the grand ballroom before me filled with industry leaders, colleagues, and friends, I took a moment to soak it all in. The applause as I walked up was not just for the role I held, but for the person I had become. I spoke, not just about our company's achievements, but about the power of transformation, of industries, of companies, of individuals. Midway through the evening, an unexpected guest caught my attention. Brian was there, looking much the same, yet smaller somehow, less significant to my world. Our eyes met across the room, and in that glance, there was an entire conversation. There was no bitterness, only a quiet acknowledgement of the past and a resolute dismissal of its hold on me. Later, as I mingled among the guests, Colin approached, his expression one of pride and respect. "Scarlett, seeing you tonight, seeing how far you've come, it's remarkable. You're not just leading the company, you're leading by example." As the night drew to a close, I stood by the vast windows overlooking the city lights. The reflection showed a woman transformed, adorned not just in an elegant gown, but in the invisible yet palpable mantle of earned confidence and respect. This moment was more than just a high point in a career. It was a milestone in a journey of becoming. This newfound confidence was my bridge to a future I once dreamed of, a future that was now my reality. As I continued to navigate through life, each challenge became less of a hurdle and more of an opportunity to reinforce the strength and poise I had cultivated. The night of the gala was not merely an evening. It was a tableau of my transformation, a celebration of the journey I had embarked upon months ago. As I interacted with guests, each handshake and each smile exchanged was a testament to the self-assured individual I had become. The gala, set in the opulent grandeur of the city's most prestigious venue, shimmered with the promise of a memorable evening. I was mingling with a group of influential business leaders when I heard a familiar voice, a voice that once held power over my emotions. "Brian." He approached hesitantly through the crowd, his eyes fixed on me. The room seemed to pause, the background chatter fading into a hush as our paths crossed once again. "Scarlett," he began, the familiarity of my name on his lips sounding foreign now. "You look incredible." "Thank you, Brian," I replied, my voice steady and polite, devoid of the warmth it once held for him. "I hope you're doing well." His gaze lingered, taking in the confident stance and the poised smile that I now wore like armor. "I heard about your promotion. That's really something," he added, a mix of admiration and something else, perhaps regret, in his tone. "Thank you," I said simply, allowing a moment of silence to pass between us, a silence that spoke volumes of the growth and the distance that now lay between us. As I excused myself to greet another group of guests, I could feel his eyes on me, watching as I moved through the room with an ease and grace that I had cultivated over countless days of self-discovery and hard work. The encounter, brief as it was, served as a poignant reminder of how much had changed, and how little he now meant in the grand scheme of my life. Colin, who had been observing from a distance, came over with a knowing smile. "Handled like a true leader, Scarlett," he commented, leading me towards the podium where I was scheduled to speak. Standing at the podium, the spotlight warm upon my face, I looked out over the sea of faces, colleagues, mentors, and friends, who had supported my journey in ways they might not even realize. "Good evening, everyone," I began, my voice echoing with clarity and strength across the room. Tonight we celebrate not just the successes of our company, but the individual journeys that bring us together. My speech wove the narrative of transformation, personal and professional, that mirrored the ethos of our company. Innovation isn't just about new ideas or technologies. It's about transforming the way we think, the way we lead, and the way we grow, I stated, each word underlined with my own experiences. As the applause rang out, louder and more resonant than before, I stepped down from the podium to a flurry of congratulations and commendations. The evening progressed with a series of toasts and conversations, each interaction reinforcing the role I now played within the community and the industry. Later in the evening, as the gala neared its end, I found a moment to step outside onto the balcony overlooking the city. The skyline was a glittering array of lights, each one a distant star in the vastness of the night. As I stood there, the cool breeze whispering across the expanse, I reflected on the incredible journey. From the pain of betrayal to the strength of solitude, from the ashes of old dreams to the beauty of new aspirations, my life had transformed in ways I could never have imagined. The gala was not just an event. It was a declaration of my arrival at a place of self-empowerment and profound contentment. The evening wound down, and as guests began to depart, I remained, savoring the lingering energy of the night. The gala had been more than a success. It had been a showcase of my evolution, a narrative of triumph not just for me, but for anyone who dared to dream of something better. As I finally left the venue, the echo of my heels on the marble floor was a percussive testament to my journey. Each step was a note in the symphony of my life, a life that was uniquely, beautifully mine. The confidence I felt was no longer just a part of me. It was me. As the final guests drifted away from the gala, the echo of their departing footsteps mingling with the soft music still playing in the background, I lingered a moment longer. This night, a glittering celebration of achievements and new beginnings, marked not just a milestone, but a full circle in my journey of self-discovery and empowerment. Driving home, the city lights blurred into streams of gold as I reflected on everything that had led to this moment. It wasn't just about the applause or the accolades. It was about the internal victories, the battles fought in silence, the quiet moments of doubt conquered by sheer will and determination. Upon reaching home, I found my sanctuary in the quiet, after the storm of celebrations. My living room, with its cozy nooks and personal touches, welcomed me into its embrace. Dropping my keys on the table, I sank into the sofa, letting the cushions catch the weight of not just my body, but all the emotions of the evening. This was the moment of true victory, the silence after the applause. Here, in the solitude of my own space, I could feel the full weight of what I had accomplished. It wasn't just about proving others wrong, or even proving something to myself. It was about living the truth of who I was, without compromise, without the shadow of doubt that had once clung to my steps. I thought back over the past months, each day a thread in the tapestry of my transformation. From the ashes of a relationship that had threatened to define my self-worth, I had risen, not with vengeance, but with a focus on creating a life filled with meaning and purpose. My career, once a part of my life, had become a testament to my capabilities, each success a building block in the structure of my new identity. The reflection in the mirror now showed a woman transformed, not just externally, but at the very core. The challenges I had faced, the late nights, the early mornings, the endless meetings, the solitary decisions, were not just hurdles, but stepping stones on the path to self-realization. In the quiet of the night, I pulled out a journal, a habit I had developed during my days of introspection and planning. I penned down my thoughts, each word a testament to the journey I had undertaken. This journal, filled with scribbles, notes, and reflections, was more than just a book. It was a chronicle of my metamorphosis, Success, I wrote, is more than the outcome. It's about the journey, about the resilience and the courage to continue when the path is obscured by shadows. Tonight was not just a celebration of what has been achieved, but a promise of what is yet to come. The next morning, I woke up to the soft light of dawn filtering through my curtains. The events of the gala still resonated in my mind, each memory a brushstroke on the canvas of my life. I prepared for the day with a ritualistic precision, each step in my routine a reaffirmation of my independence and strength. As I set out for the day, the city seemed to greet me with a new respect, as if it too recognized the change within me. At work, my team awaited me with smiles and congratulations, but beyond the immediate celebrations, there was work to be done. We dove into projects with a renewed vigor, each task infused with the passion and dedication that had become our hallmark under my leadership. The final victory, I realized, was not in the events of a single night, but in the enduring changes that had woven their way through every aspect of my life. It was about the respect I commanded not just from others, but from myself, the integrity with which I approached every challenge, and the unwavering commitment to my values and vision. As weeks turned into months, and months into years, the journey continued. Each day offered new challenges and new opportunities to grow, to learn, and to lead. My life, once confined by the expectations and judgments of others, was now a vibrant landscape of my own making, each decision and achievement a note in the ongoing symphony of my existence. And so, with every step forward, I carried the lessons of the past, the confidence of the present, and the hope for the future, knowing that the true victory was in living a life that was authentically, unapologetically mine.